Hey everybody, welcome back to yet another episode of the Music Den. I am of course your host Armando Venditti. Sorry, only 2 coffees today, and I'm all screwed up verbally. I'm joined again by Mr. Bill Schuster. How you doing, Bill?
Good, Armando. How you doing?
Doing good. And if the setting that you're looking at while we're doing these episodes looks familiar, is because we're taping these shows one after the other. So you know what? That's how we roll here. You know what I mean? You go with what you got. Bill has changed his shirt from Supertramp to Elton John, and we are going to follow up with Billy Joel. So what we're going to do is, and this was Bill's idea. Thank you for this idea, Bill. And this was a hard a list to put together. We're going to pick our top 3 Elton John albums versus our top 3 Billy Joel albums. So there you go. But yeah, this was a hard list for me to put together. More so for Elton John than Billy Joel. So but yeah, this is gonna be fun, actually. And also, by the way, we are coming up, we're gonna be doing another episode on the ranking albums of one Alicia Moore, known as Pink. There's only one Pink, and Roger Waters is not it. All right. So okay. Being raised proper by my beloved mother, I will let Mr. Schuster go first with his number 3 Elton John album.
All right, thank you, Armando. All right, Elton John. All right, yeah, both were. The bottom 3 was, the third pick for each was difficult. I already knew my number 1 for each. My number 3 for Elton is a very early album, Tumbleweed Connection.
Mm-hmm.
It's some of my top favorite songs by Elton. Burn Down the Mission and Where to Now St. Peter. Those 2 in particular are really, really all-time favorites for me. Where to Now St. Peter is just gorgeous. I just love to sing along with it. Burn Down the Mission may be even better live on the 11-17-70 album, or 17-11-70, depending on where you are in the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a very folksy pre Davy Johnstone album. I love Davy. He's been a huge part of Elton's band for decades, but he wasn't here. My number 2, right from the same time frame, in fact, follow-up, Madman Across the Water.
Mm-hmm.
This folks is the beauty of the vinyl packaging, and the giant lyric sheets, and just, yeah, this is the stuff right here. See all the song titles. Even though Tiny Dancer and Leave On have been played to death, I still adore those songs. Leave On, still there's a part in it that tears me up every time. And I'm not going to say what it is because I don't feel like getting teared up this time. That's kind of becoming a cliche for me on these shows. So
I would never do that to you. Okay.
Yeah, really, that side 1 is one of those perfect album sides for me. I absolutely love Razorface. That's a wonderful deep cut. And the title track, Madman Across the Water, that's Stone Cold classic in this version and the one with Mick Ronson on guitar. And side 2, it's nothing but deep cuts, outstanding, Indian Sunset, Holiday Inn, Rotten Peaches, All the Nasties, and Goodbye. This is just it's a wonderful album. And yeah, that cover, it's just so, that belongs on my wall. Why is this not hanging on the wall behind me? I don't know. In fact, it belongs on the shirt.
Only because Stacy would have something to say about that, but that's okay.
You are absolutely right.
There you
we
go.
have had that discussion over the years.
There you go. Bob does the same thing with me, but I just don't listen. Go ahead.
That's why behind the wall here, behind the records behind me, we're working on making my music room.
I got you.
Put all this stuff. My number 1, it was pretty well a foregone conclusion. It's not what many people might be expecting it to be. Because I know what the traditional number one is for Elton John. And while that's probably a top five album for me,
Mhm.
my number one has always been Honky Chateau.
Ooh.
This is where Davey joined the band. There he is on the back, his first album, along with Dee and Nigel. That's the classic Elton John lineup. And of course, you open it up, there's Bernie and one Jean Luc Ponty.
Yeah.
So, yeah, how often do you hear Jean Luc Ponty and Elton John in the same sentence?
Yeah. How often do you hear Jean-Luc Ponty and Frank Zappa in the same
Exactly.
sentence? So yeah.
This has well, obviously the two big hits, Rocket Man and Honky Cat. Those are great songs. I've always liked those songs, but they are not my favorites on this album. Uh, my favorite, possibly my favorite Elton John song, period, is Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters. It has been for a very long time, long before it was popularized and almost famous. Uh, Before that, it was pretty much a total deep cut, and you had to be an old school Elton John fan to really even
Yeah.
know about it.
A real
I'm
staunch.
glad that Elton brought it forward and that the movie brought it forward and it gained new life and new popularity because it deserves it. It's a gorgeous song, even though there is no such thing as a rose tree. I don't care. I'll
Okay.
give me a pass on that one.
Okay. Okay.
And I also I really like I think I'm going to kill myself. It's one of those things. We have a lot of gallows humor in our family. We poke fun at things
Yeah. Yeah.
in order to keep the darkness at bay, basically.
Yeah.
Um, and this is just such a well designed song musically too. It's when he gets to that, I'd like to see what the papers say on the state of the teenage
Hmm.
blue. It's just so gorgeous. That's yeah, and it's just a fun song. Now, some of the references, like him asking to have Bridget Bardot come see him every night in order to prevent him from killing himself, that's definitely a dated reference, but I'm
Yeah.
old. Like I get
Exactly. Yeah.
that.
Oh my
And Mellow,
God.
I've always been a big fan of Mellow.
Hmm.
That's yeah, really the whole album. There's not a bad song on this album. And Hercules, it's his middle name now. I mean, come on, how can you not love the album where he got his middle name? Or did he decide on Hercules as his middle name before the song was written? I don't recall, but
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there. This is definitely my top Elton John album, though.
Mm.
And yeah,
Yeah.
the album that I was referring to, you can probably guess what
Well,
the one that I think is the traditional number one for.
yeah. Yeah. I have a good idea. I have a good idea. And that might just make this list on my part. So you never know.
It was
Um,
close.
yeah, and I think between us, we got a good, well, we got a good cross section going on here with different stuff. No, good choices. I mean, I recently just got into Honky Chateau because I have I bought the issue for another reason that we won't go into. But yeah, I digress. Um, but yeah, no, I'm slowly getting into his 70s stuff. I do have other, Tumbleweed Connection. And Tumbleweed Connection never had any singles released in North America. So I mean, and that seems to be the underdog in terms of albums for him, for his catalog. So yeah, that's good. My top three, ladies and gentlemen, we must carry on. Is number three, Madman Across the Water. I was thinking, and it's listed as his progressive rock album. I don't know. Have you ever considered him, Elton John, a progressive rock artist?
Not really. I think if you take Funeral for a Friend out of the picture,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
I
yeah.
mean,
I mean,
he is musically, he's all over the map. Maybe that could be considered progressive because he never stood still for so long. He tried all kinds of different sounds, and
Probably because he was like maybe forward thinking and like never really,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
more progressive in that sense rather than a classic like progressive rock sense.
Yeah, like a Yes or yeah,
Yeah.
or a King Crimson kind of a way. Yeah, I got you. I got you. Um, yeah, so number three, Madman Across the Water. I mean, leave on, Tiny Dancer. And it is Tiny Dancer, not Tony Danza when you sing it. I'm sorry. Most people think, hold me closer, Tony Danza. You know what? If that floats your boat, have fun. But no, it's not that way. Um, Tiny Dancers, a fantastic track, and it clocks in at like 6 minutes plus. So it's like, it's a real sprawling piece of work. The title track is another fantastic track. And by the way, if you buy the reissue of Tumbleweed Connection, you will find the original version of Madman Across the Water featuring Mick Ronson on guitar. And that track clocks in 8 minutes and 50 seconds. And I have it in the basement. So it's fantastic. Everything in the free world in my house is in the basement along with Jimmy Hoffa. So, I mean, you never know. So yeah, fantastic track. Also other songs of note for me like Indian Sunset, um, and the final track Goodbye. Just a very quick minute plus track. Just a little sort of ending. He wouldn't even need to put lyrics on it. It would have been just a nice sort of outro. You know. So yeah, that's my number three. My number two, guys. I've always said that his 70s output of Elton John's, was for me top notch because he was able to do the high melodies, harmonies, and stuff. I gave his later catalog I listened to, and my number two is Songs from the West Coast,
Nice.
2001. Thank you, Bob. I'm glad you approve. 2001 release, produced by Patrick Leonard, who by this point had worked with Madonna, Pink Floyd, on Momentary Lapse of Reason. It's at that point when he released it and he was doing interviews, he has said that it was his favorite album, that he recorded it, on analog tape, and that analog tape has a much more rich, full sound in terms of the instruments. And yeah, it's a fantastic album. Um, sorry, bad back, guys. I'm getting old. So I mean, songs on the album: "Original Sin," which was the third single; "I Want Love," lead off single; "This Train Don't Stop Here, Don't Stop There Anymore." Sorry. "American Triangle," which features background vocals from Rufus Wainwright. Um, "Dark Diamond," featuring Stevie Wonder on clavinet. "Lover Like Me," which is another great track. And Ballad of the Boy in the Red Shoes. I mean, musically, it's one of the strongest albums he's ever done from that time period. Yes, you may have your favorites from 70s, 80s output for me is a bit spotty. 90s output, I mean, he's doing musicals and The Lion King. You know what? Screw that. I want the catalog. I'm sorry. But to me, this from 2001, it is a strong album, and it even though it was a hit, I do think it was underrated. It was not fully appreciated. And I think there could have been more singles released from it, more promotion for it. So yeah, that's my number two. Almost forgot my number one. My number one, drum roll, please. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. I mean, 1973, he was on a roll. I mean, he was releasing albums left, right, and center. Double album, 16 or 17 tracks. I think it's 17. There you go. Bill's pulling out the big guns here. Yeah. I mean, look at that cover. Look at
Yeah.
commercial or not, overplayed or not, you can't deny that this album had an impact.
It won't even fit on the screen, folks.
There you go. There you go. He's trying. He's the next up, guys. We're gonna play Twister. And
We'll need help getting up.
yeah, oh, definitely, I will. I'm gonna need a huge spatula to get my ass up off the ground. And yeah, I mean, overplayed or not, commercial or not, I mean, it is a hit for a reason. You know, you have the title track, which the intro, Funeral for a Friend, is just amazing. Sprawling piano, epic sounding with the ARP synthesizer, just amazing. And it is very much of its time. You know, but you know what? Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. And you know, you've got that. You've got the song has no title. Gray Seal. What else here? Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. I mean, like, come on. I mean, it is a classic track and a classic album. So yeah, those are my top 3 Elton John albums. And I mean, you know, anyone that disagrees, right down there, put in the comments. So there you go. So yeah, we're gonna go off to our onto our Billy Joel.
Yeah, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road was close. It was, yeah.
Sorry, did you have other comments, like other, you wanted to say something, or
Um, all I could say about Goodbye Yellow Brick Road is it has some of his absolute best work, but I think it would have been a perfect 3-sided album. I'll let people pick what few songs they might remove.
okay.
Yeah, those 3 sides would have been absolute top notch, but they're just a few fillery tracks for me. Very few, but just enough to move it down. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I found this list harder to do than the Billy Joel. Like, I really did. I'm saying that, do I like this enough to put it on my list? And it's like, yeah, I mean, I do. I mean, I have Tumbleweed Connection. I was going to put that, but I thought,
I think we got a nice variety here.
no, we do. We do.
I'm glad you picked something modern. I'm a big fan of Captain and the Kid from 2006. That's one of my favorite modern albums of his. So yeah, I definitely appreciate lots of stuff throughout his career. It just happens that those early albums, yeah, they're pretty special.
I got you. I understand that. Okay. So, guys, we're going to move on to our top 3 Billy Joel albums. Okay. So,
right.
Mr. Schuster, if you will, please.
1 and 2 were locked in. I already knew, no doubt. My number 1 was my favorite album of that year by anyone, but we'll get to that momentarily. Number 3 could have been any one of 3 or 4 albums. I won't say what the others are now because that'll spoil the next 2.
Okay.
This one is my number 3. You don't know what it is because this is the back cover.
Back cover. I was going to say.
Being ass. No, it is The Nylon Curtain.
Oh, okay. I've never
I
seen
used
the
to
back
have it on cassette, and I never knew. We never saw the back cover on the cassette because it wasn't there. So
Yeah.
when I found a vinyl copy of this for $5 just a few months ago, I was, oh, cool. All right. It has all these news articles here, and it's, yeah. This is generally considered possibly his most critically acclaimed album.
Yeah.
He tackled more social issues on here, and You had, famously Good Night Saigon about Vietnam War
Yeah.
veterans, and
Yeah.
I think that still affects has a very strong emotional effect on people who were there. My dad is a Vietnam veteran, and yeah, I'm sure he might have something to say about it too. It definitely left a mark. So, Allentown, how many
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
many pop hits talk about? I mean,
Minor. Yeah.
factory
The
town
steel
dying
town
basically.
factories
Yeah,
closing. I
mining.
mean, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty much lyrically something different, and it was great musically too. And I love the train. Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't
Yeah.
quite make the
Yeah.
noise. You know what I'm
The
talking about.
effects. The effects. Yeah.
Laura, I understand lyrically a lot more now than I did when this came out.
Okay.
It has some very more adult relationship lyrics and they're kind of messed up,
Hmm.
but I appreciate the song lyrically a lot more now that I understand these lyrics. It's kind of dark and sad, but when I was younger, I think was mostly amused by the fact that he threw an F bomb in the middle of it.
Yeah. Holy. Gee. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, pressure was the other big single
Yeah.
off of it, and that's a great song also. But again, this is another one of those albums that side one has all the more popular songs, and side two is all deep cuts. And I like all the songs on side two, but yeah, she's right on time for me. Is a lovely song. A Room of Our Own is just fun. I mean, you've got yogurt, honey. I've got beer. Yeah,
Yeah.
just those goofy back and forth lyrics like that, but it's a fun song.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Surprises, Scandinavian Skies, Where's the Orchestra? They, well, all right, Scandinavian Skies has the war theme, but really, Surprises is kind of vague lyrically. Where's the Orchestra? It doesn't really, it's kind of odd
Yeah.
lyrically, but I almost think he had writer's block when he came up with the lyrics for that song. And I could be way off base there though, but
Hmm.
yeah, side two overall does not necessarily fit the more what was considered political themes
Okay.
that people talked about with this record at the time.
Hmm.
But it's all still really good. But yeah, again, this it could have been one of at least three other records in the place of this one. So it's pretty tight battle.
That's cool.
All right. Anyway, I'm long winded enough on that one.
After
Number
what I
two.
just said about Supertramp, forget it. Okay, you're fine.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you're fine.
Uh, Number two is another one of those that's probably going to be the number one for many people. Uh, it is The Stranger, 1977.
Yeah,
Many hits, many rock radio classics. There's Billy with the band and Phil Ramone.
yeah,
Remember when Billy had that big old head of hair on him way back
yeah.
when?
I do. I may have been 7, but I remember
Yeah, this
the
is
late great Phil Ramone on the back too. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. He was a big part of Billy Joel's sound, definitely.
yeah,
Um, and another perfect side one. I mean, every one of these songs played to death on the radio. Moving Out, The Stranger, Just the Way You Are, and the epic scenes from an Italian restaurant. And that is, yeah, that's got to be a top 10 song. And Just the Way You Are, I don't care how uh, overplayed it may be, how, I don't know, kind of treacly. That's not really the word I'm looking for. Some people might call it cheesy. I think it's just a beautiful song, a beautiful lyric overall,
okay,
and
yeah,
it's timeless.
okay. Well, I mean, everyone's got their opinion. I mean, I like moving out. I mean, like,
Oh, I do too. Yeah, that's great.
I mean,
I mean, working too hard can give you a heart attack.
yeah,
You
yeah,
ought to
yeah.
know by now. So.
Yeah, and it's funny because Bob's niece would sing that song in the car, and she doesn't get it that that is an effect that they do. So you're supposed to stop at heart attack, but she keeps going with the I'm like,
I always have to. More power to her. I'm
I
right there
mean,
with
if I could turn around, it's like, don't do that. But it's on the songs. Oh my God. Okay. Never mind. Moving on.
I'm with you, Neil. Um,
Talk about tangents, guys. Okay, let's go.
it is.
There you go.
Side two is not quite as hit heavy, but it
Yeah.
does have one really big hit, Only the Good Die Young,
Mm,
which I've
yeah.
always loved. It's always just it was just such a great, perfect pop song.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
Let's say uh, Billy is kinder to Catholic girls lyrically than Frank Zappa was, and leave it at that.
Oh my God. Okay, yeah, we're not gonna go there.
No, I don't want to open that rabbit hole up. So,
No, 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 we're not going there. No, no. This is
um,
a clean show, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, the Frank Zappa episode would have to have an R rating.
double R rating, probably
Yeah,
X. I mean, okay.
um,
Yeah, I'm
Bill,
up for that too.
be a deep one. That, um,
Yeah. We'll talk.
she's always a woman is another. It was a smaller hit, but it definitely got a lot of play. It's a wonderful song, and Vienna, of course. I skipped right past Vienna. That's a great song too.
Yeah.
One I didn't always appreciate when I was younger. That one had to grow on me over the years.
Yeah.
But the thing that keeps this out of my number one spot is the last two songs. Get it right the first time, and Everybody Has a Dream. Especially Get It Right the first time. I just find it awkward.
Okay.
Um, the album kind of fizzes out for me after being pretty uniformly outstanding. So I think the one superior to that is one that I don't think has any weak moments on it. The follow up, my favorite album of 1978, 52nd Street. This really is The Stranger Part 2, but I think in many ways it's The Stranger improved. I know I'll get some flack for that, but
Not for me or not.
yeah, this every single song on here, even the almost throwaway title track that closes out the album, uh, it just all fits perfectly. We all know the hits: "Big Shot," "Honesty," "My Life." Uh, They've all been played to death, and rightfully so. But though those are great, I think "Zanzibar" is my favorite on side one. That's I think it's a song that's come around over the years. I know Billy was throwing it in his live show, which is nice.
Yeah, it's cool when they like when artists take out songs like replay songs that they have had before, like they haven't used or played in a while, and they give it a new outing, kind of a kind of kind of thing, and fans
Especially somebody
rediscover.
like that. I mean, somebody that has that many hits that, yeah, to toss away one of the hits to make room for a track like Zanzibar, yeah, core power
Yeah,
to him.
yeah,
Side two, I think it has no hits, but it's just as perfect. Well, Stiletto got played a lot on rock radio. I don't think it was ever a single at all. It did get played a lot on the rock stations, though.
mm,
But Rosalinda's Eyes, Half a Mile Away, and Until the Night, I don't recall ever hearing any of them on the radio, but they should have been. They're all just perfect pop songs.
yeah.
My God, Until the Night, the build, that's like something Jim Steinman would have come up with for Meatloaf.
Oh my God. Okay.
It just, the building at the end, I'm just beginning to feel, I'm just beginning to give, so on. It just, and finally that release, Until the Night, it's just epic. I love it.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, that's one of those gives me chills at that point in the album.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's a reason this is my favorite album of 78. There's a lot of great albums that year too. So that tells you how much I dig this album.
Yeah. And I mean, just a quick thing. That was at a point too where there were, how can I put this diplomatically? FM rock stations that would play album cuts, like deep cuts, and whether it was a hit or not, they didn't care. They just liked what they heard and they played it. You know what I mean? They weren't trying to plug a single. Yes, you had your singles, but you could play a Billy Joel side two track of whatever album and or Elton John and just you wouldn't get any flack for it. These days it's all like sort of you play the same 50 or 75 songs over and over again, and
Yes.
If I hear Back in Black one more time, I'm sorry. Okay. But yeah, no, that's a good list.
Let me wrong album, but let me get the prop.
Oh,
What did you say
Jesus.
about
Okay.
AC/DC, Armando?
You know what? You're at a safe distance. I can say what I want. I mean,
All right, I like AC/DC, but I don't love them. They're nowhere near one of my favorites. So
yeah,
yeah.
no, that's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, that's a good list, man. That's a really good list. Um, and I'm going to use this opportunity because Bill and I were talking before we start taping this segment about how many times we've seen Elton John. I've seen Elton John 3 times. And one of the times, it was the second time I went to see him, I should say, I heard him. In that, he was performing with Billy Joel, co-headlining. And I'm going to say this, and I don't care. I went with my brother's girlfriend at the time. She kept pulling me out of the concert because she needed to go smoke a cigarette. Kathy, if you're watching, you screwed up. Okay. Just saying. All right. That was the only time that was the only time that I could have seen Billy Joel. And she could come with me to go have a cigarette. Come with me to go have a cigarette. I don't want to go alone. Get your hands off me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't touch me, kind of a thing. I'm watching the show. And she kept pulling me out. So you know what? I've lost my chance to see him in concert, and I regret that. But yeah, it is what it is. And another footnote. I was looking up when we came up with this idea, guys. I was looking up box sets because you know how you get these artists that have the full catalog released in one collection. Like Miles Davis has it. I found a copy of the Billy Joel album, Columbia Albums collection, $1,500.
Wow.
No.
No.
As nuts as I am, I'm not suicidal. I am not doing it. I have a mortgage to pay. I have rent to pay. I have dogs to raise. I'm not doing it. So there you go. Anyways, that's my Dr. Phil rant. There we go. Back to the show. Okay.
Be ashamed, Kathy.
She should be.
Just a quick, as a former chain smoker, I quit almost 10 years ago, but I used to be 2.5 packs a day.
Oh God.
No matter, I would not step out of a concert to go have a cigarette. You wait until after the show's over.
If she tried to do that to me at a Queen show, Queen and Adam Lambert, they would have been calling her Lefty because it would have been ugly. That's all I'm going to say. And she was. I don't go there. And that's another issue altogether. We must carry on, ladies and gentlemen. My top 3 Billy Joel album list. My choices basically kind of go all over the map. And coming in at number 3, and I think I'm going to switch out my 2 and 1. Coming in at number 3 is Innocent Man. Okay. Yes, it's chock full of hits. I mean, Easy Money from the movie Easy Money, The Longest Time, Tell Her About It, Leave Her Tender Moment Alone, Keeping the Faith, Uptown Girl. Personally, that song and video were wasted on me, but that's another issue. Won't go in there. But I read that album, I didn't know this, but that album was considered a concept album because what he did was he picked tracks and dedicated them to Sam Cooke, Ray Charles. Like he recorded these songs in the vein of these artists that he liked so much, like the doo-wop groups of the 50s and 60s and all that, the Four Tops, people like that, groups like that. So I was listening to it again, and every song is good. Every song is catchy, melodic. I mean, they were all singles basically. So that's my commercial hit for this list. As I move my list up, sorry, Bill, bit long-winded today, but as I move my list up, number 2 for me is and I have fallen in love with his 70s output. I gotta say that. Number 2 for me is Piano Man from 73. I mean, these albums, Piano Man, Street Life Serenade, they were at a time where the term singer-songwriter, applied to Elton John, applied to James Taylor. Like, all you needed, even Bob Dylan, Paul Simon, all you needed was an acoustic guitar or a piano, and you came up with melodies on your own, like no drum machines, no keyboard programming, nothing of that nature. Everything was live off the floor and just beautiful, like beautiful piano, sprawling piano passages. And that's what you get with this album. You get the title track, which is infamous. I mean, it's, how many pop ballads are in a 3/4 time signature? 1 2 3 1 2 3. Like when you hear it, it's a waltz, right? You have that. You have the Ballad of Billy the Kid. You have Stop in the sorry, my eyes are bad today. Stop in Nevada. If I Only Had, the Captain Jack. Great string arrangements on this, and great use of a pedal steel guitar in the session. He had session musicians at this point on this album, and he really didn't have like his backing band, right? That he had, in subsequent recordings and stuff. So, and this was recorded just after his first album that came out. That when it was mastered, when it was sent to be mastered, there was a screw up, and his voice came out at a higher pitch. So he hated that album. Like he just moved on from there. So that's my number 2. And I'm gonna scroll down again. Hold on. Moving down to my number 1. Sorry. My number 1 album of Billy Joel's, ladies and gentlemen, is Street Life Serenade from 75. Songs like Roberta. I mean, if you've heard Roberta, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you won't go there, but he won't even go there when he talks about it. The title track, Rope Your Rag, the instrumental that he would play quite often in concert. Again, other songs like The Mexican Connection, the second instrumental, Souvenir. And again, this album continues that sort of singer-songwriter mentality, right? That's in that vein of just writing about life, nothing contrived, nothing, how can I put this? Nothing grandiose, just like writing about what you see around you, what you've experienced, right? And again, his prowess on the piano, I really didn't appreciate it until I heard these earlier albums. And I really didn't think of him as a really deep, like intricate kind of arranger with his music, right? So I want to thank you for giving me this topic and having a chance to dive into this stuff. And no, guys, as nuts as I am, I'm not going to spend $1,500 on the collection.
No.
I have to live. I'm not going to do it. So, sorry. So these are lists for Elton John and Billy Joel. Hopefully you like what we've talked about. Hopefully we didn't go on too long. I know I probably did, but who gives a shit? Please, again, leave your comments down below and let us know what you think. You know, everyone has their own opinion.
Who's going to win?
Sorry, we got,
Who wins the battle, Elton John or Billy Joel?
for me, Billy Joel.
You know what? Me too. And I'm surprised by that. But
Really?
overall, I am a bigger Elton John fan. And if it was the entire catalog of each put
Yeah.
against the other, I would go for Elton.
Mm.
But the three against the three, yeah, 52nd Street destroys Honky Chateau, and I love Honky Chateau, so that
Yeah.
that surprises me.
Really?
But yeah, so that's all right.
Okay.
And I just
All right.
I just decided that right as we were doing this video, as I realized going through the songs and everything. Wow. So yeah, congratulations for Billy Joel's upset victory while I'm wearing my Elton John shirt.
True enough. True enough. So there you go, guys. Billy Joel wins out over Elton John. Again, leave your comments, leave your comments down below. Excuse me, guys. And let us know what you think. And yeah, I mean, these are two great artists, but you know what? In the end, you got to go with your heart and your gut. And sometimes the underdog wins, right? I mean, there you go. So also click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for any new content that I've got coming up. And I've got some stuff coming up, some ideas formulating in my head with Mr. Schuster and with others. We will be back soon with another video. Don't go away. And that's it for now. From Mr. Bill Schuster, I am Armando Venditti. Take care of yourselves and one another. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.